Hey everyone, just a very brief test just to make sure that we can get this YouTube channel. Hey everyone, just a very brief test just to make sure that we can get this YouTube channel. Just just to make sure that we can get is it YouTube channel? Okay. hopefully, hopefully this works. Remember, I'm now a novice on YouTube. So I guess I had channels open and it was echoing everywhere. So if you can see me and hear me, fiver. I need the 2 5s. 1 5 for video, second 5 for audio, video and audio. Hi, Elvis. Welcome back. Sound is much better, says Stormy Cat. Have we got any 5 5s? 2 high fives from Debbie Dinanda. Debbie Dinanda, we love you. Angel. Angelica, 5. See how alive it is on YouTube, and it's not like this on Rumble. Everything is just dead on Rumble, and of course, Rumble for what is it? The last 4 or 5 months, something like that. They have shadow banned us. So where all the videos were going anywhere from 40,000 to 100,000+ views, it's pulling teeth to try to get 20,000 views on Rumble for the last 4 months. Same thing for the last 2 or 3 months has happened on X. So things are supposed to be getting better, but they're not. And who can you count on? YouTube. You can count on YouTube. Well, that's a shock, because YouTube declared us as like their mortal enemy. But we're back. YouTube said we may have made a mistake, and if you would like to reapply, so sure, okay, we did. And they got back a few hours later, said, yes, we believe we made a mistake. We are reinstating your channel. Good luck to you. Don't fuck us around. So, so that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Somebody says I look good. Unshaven. Hair probably has animals in it. It's 5:57, so I got to feed Diamond Boy pretty quick here. So this isn't meant to be any kind of lengthy show. And for the show on Saturday, I'm torn. It's scheduled to be, and I'm very excited to do the show on the Cathars. And of course, the Cathars are those in southern France who already had a tradition of mystical understanding. So this is Hermeticism and alchemy, which was widespread all around the Mediterranean, close to the Mediterranean. So in the regions like Languedoc, but others as well. And so when Mary Magdalene and the bloodline and the family arrived in southern France, they were embraced by the locals. This group came to be known as the Cathars. The Cathars are, again, a mystical group who embraced Mary Magdalene as an earthly manifestation of the sacred feminine. And when they saw the daughter, which is Sarah, who was alive at that point, and Mary pregnant, and that would be with the second born, which would be the son, who is Joseph. And so they took Mary into their arms, into their hearts, and they're already focusing on the very same things that Yeshua and Mary were teaching, which is Hermeticism, which is alchemy, which is what the Essenes taught, which is what the mystic Hebrews taught. The true Jews, the true Jewish tradition is a mystic Hebrew philosophy, which became the Essenes, and then the northern sect of the Essenes are the Nazarenes. So we don't call, and in this upside down world, everybody identifies themselves as Christians, and this nonsense of the cross. Oh, wow, the image is not a great one for Yeshua in the first place. But everybody identifies themselves as a Christian versus a Nazarene. So if you believe in the teachings of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, they would never ask you to be part of a religion. They would never ask you to subscribe to theirs and theirs, their church and their own. The church of God is within here, and that they would simply teach. And if people wanted to connect to these teachings, they could, free. And that's just the way it is. So you would call yourself, if that was your course, a Nazarene. And so what is the correct name for all of these people who profess to love this historical figure 2,000 years ago? Well, it's Yeshua HaMashiach. HaMashiach in Hebrew is the anointed one, or Christ. So Christ Yeshua, or Yeshua the Christ, would be the official title, or in Hebrew, Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua in Hebrew is bringer of salvation. And again, that is exactly what Isa, which is the name for Yeshua when he traversed into India and in the foothills of the Himalayas, was known as Isa. Isa is the bringer of salvation, Yeshua, the bringer of salvation. So we should get this right and not wrong. And in fact, the figure that everybody identifies with, Jesus Christ, is just a construct of Rome, and nothing has changed. The very people that murdered Yeshua are the Romans. The very people who are still in charge today are the Romans. And of course, we did our big podcast in figuring out what Rome truly is and what this SPQR stands for and represents. Well, it's the bloodline. It's the bloodline behind the Caesars. It's behind the Senate. Those who held power no matter what. If they had to change their get-up and their clothing and their structure, then they would just continue to adapt, morph themselves, and maintain their stranglehold of power. So organized society today is simply Rome, just 2,000 years later, which is why you have order and structure, or else. That's how it works in this world. If you don't obey and behave, Colleen and I absolutely know that, then you are punished. You are, and of course, if we'd have come along prior to 1989, Colleen and I would not have survived this. We absolutely would have been taken out. So the only reason is because we're watching a movie. And that's why all of the shadow banning of our channel is still up and going, because nothing will change. Hi, Profro. Can everybody see Profro here? Hello, baby. Hello, baby. So that's why it's just, once again, that nothing is going to get better until the system collapses. And believe me, the heart and soul of the system is the Federal Reserve. Other things are going to happen first. You've got a communist Muslim as mayor of New York City with no experience whatsoever. This is insanity. And of course, it's insanity, but it's designed to be insane so that those people who have been on the sidelines or continually living in denial, which is not just a river in Egypt, by the way, of things are so fucked up, we've got to do something. This is sort of their last chance to wake up at the precipice. And again, if we create the illusion, if we create the sense that humanity itself is in desperation and in need of help, well, that's when human beings in their fallen state, we're mankind, but in this fallen state, we're human beings. That's when human beings show up. And then that's when we show our true colors. And that's where we rise above, stop judging one another, and we just reach out to lend a helping hand. So who knows? Maybe it will be a massive false flag, a black swan event, or whatever it needs to be. But the fact of the matter is, until the system crashes, this nonsense and BS is going to continue. And as such, we have no idea if we'll last on YouTube whatsoever. And if we have to go back to Rumble again, who knows? And the key, once again, is the Federal Reserve. Once the Federal Reserve is gone, everything crashes. Everything has to therefore be replaced. And that's the system that they already have in place, already up and running. And a dramatic change where the currency, instead of being debt-based, and remember, when the Fed goes, they take that debt with them. That's not your debt. That's not my debt. That's not our debt. It's invented out of thin air. It doesn't belong to anyone except them, and they can go shove it where the sun doesn't shine and take it with them. There's no debt. So as soon as the system shifts, you will have not a debt-based currency. You will have a sovereign dollar, which is a credit-based dollar, that the more you use it and the more that other people use it and the more that the economy generates usage, then it builds interest, not charged against us, but for us. So a minimum of I'm sure it'll be more than that, but a minimum growth of 3% per annum. But I would imagine that the growth within the economy, and I'm talking about the value of the dollar, will grow somewhere between 3 to 12% just in the first annum, meaning that ultimately this will become the currency or the sovereign dollar for the entire world, because everyone will just switch over to it. And then it's dollar for dollar, and nobody is a victim any longer. Everyone is part of this new credit-based. Remember what Yeshua taught us, that we are not debtors. We are creditors. Creditors mean we are always in the black, never in the red. We live in abundance because we are the true children of the Father. who art in heaven and who gives and gives and gives in. There's no such thing in God and God's creation. There's no such thing as debt or not enough. Abundance is the name of the game, and it applies to everything, including your sovereign dollar. So the sovereign dollar cannot be debt-based. Therefore, there will be no debt. As we're the first ones to tell everyone that back in 2018, 2017, whatever, and explaining all this out. There can't be. So all the debt will go away. And of course, once you get rid of the Fed and all of the debt base, then therefore inflation goes. And then Trump talked about on that, Ohio speech in 2020 when he was at the Whirlpool factory, and Ohio, the 17th state in the union, and there were 17 cardboard cases of Whirlpool machines, but they were sort of spray painted gold in color. And he was talking about the middleman, and nobody knows who this middleman is, but they've increased prices up to 90%. And could you imagine if we get rid of them and prices drop by 90%? Can you imagine what that world is going to look like? And we'd like to start with pharmaceutical pricing, and that it has to be, if they're going to sell it in the United States, has to be made in the United States, and then those prices are going to reflect that, and they're going to drop by 90%. And we've already seen that happening, and Trump's demanding that right now. So it's all happening. When it all happens, and it's going to collapse over a period of time, but nobody cares, and nobody really cares how long this process takes, as long as the collapse occurs in a finite time frame here, and that we start all over again. But this time we're doing everything the right way. One nation under God, and one nation, if we're under God, then our economical basis is based on credit and not debit, so that we always have an abundance. There's no such thing as debt. And then everything just grows. And so do you. And it'll get to the point where the US dollar is so strong that the trade discrepancy between each nation would be so vast, it would basically destroy smaller economies. And we don't want that. We're not looking for the United States to dominate and crush anybody else. We're here to guide the rest of the people on this earth. We're here to guide all of the other countries to get rid of their borders, to get rid of their passports, to get rid of lack, to get rid of crime, to get rid of the necessity for terrorism and attacks and kidnapping and all this nonsensical stuff. We're here to become the shepherds of this earth, and to usher in a new age of goodness, of kindness, of love, of righteousness. And that's it. So that's where we're headed. And on the show for Saturday, again, it's going to be either this Saturday, the show on the Cathars, and then it'll be from the moment that they're there, in a variety of different groups, to welcome the exodus of this divine bloodline from Palestine via the Mediterranean Sea to the south of France, and then the building up over the centuries into the hidden bloodline of great strength, and breeding into initially the Merovingians, the Merovingian bloodline. And of course, immediately Rome, once that occurs, immediately Rome says that the Merovingians are dangerous and not doing what they're supposed to, and satanic and all the rest of it. And the last king of the Merovingians and his son were both murdered, and then suddenly the Merovingian line just disappears, and they're replaced by the Carolingian line, and that becomes Charlemagne. and a line of corrupt souls that will just do whatever the Roman church tells them to do. So we just see this direct link of mass murder to anyone connected to Hermeticism, alchemy, mystic philosophy of the inner journey of life, and the kingdom of God is within, and the bloodline of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. Anyone connected to that. So we'll go over, targeting the Cathars, and then bringing that 50 to 60,000 mercenary army created by the Catholic Church to hunt them down in the central and the south of France, and on both sides of Marseille, and find them and destroy them. So, and the last to go was the fortress, very difficult to get at, the fortress of Montsegur, which will show as well. So whether I do that show this Saturday or the next Saturday, I'll decide in a little bit here. The other option is about, and this is, we're really looking forward to this show because we haven't touched on this subject for a long while, not since our YouTube days. And yet it is a very, very important subject, and it is high time we talked about this again. So the other subject that we may do this Saturday or the following Saturday, and that's going to be about relationships moving forward, and sex and your body. And there is so much to say, because what the average person thinks they know about their body, and what they know about the dating process, or just the process of growing up and getting into relationships, is completely fucked up, is completely wrong, and completely fucked up. And your body and your mind are sacred, and you cannot be allowing toxic souls to come anywhere near you, not of the mind, not of frequency, and certainly not of your saliva, not of your womb if you're a female, or your semen if you're a male, certainly not blood. You are a temple, and so many of the out there world are compromised, and what they are fallen, broken temples with toxic salinity, toxic saliva, toxic everything within them. You do not want that toxicity within you. So even right down to just kissing, you cannot casually be kissing just anyone and everyone, because that's your saliva contacting somebody else's saliva or somebody else's pores. And remember, pores sweat out. And we have to be really, really sensical about this and about this process. We'll talk about a little bit about homosexuality versus heterosexuality. And remember, for Colleen and I, where we're at is obviously everything, both physically and metaphysically, are all about the union between the masculine and the feminine. So in that sense, all of the teachings of Hermeticism and alchemy are all about the divine union, and that's literally the structure of our body and our minds. Is everything is built for the unification between masculine and feminine. But where Colleen and I are at is zero judgment about anyone or anything, and that what people need more than anything else is love and acceptance and teaching the truth. And the one thing that I can promise all of you on both sides of this issue is that Colleen and I will never, ever not do anything but tell the truth. And the truth of the matter is that we need to balance. That's what's wrong, completely wrong with our entire world is that we have this separation between the masculine and the divine feminine. The only way to raise all of us dimwit, masculine beings on this earth, and so many of you here have risen yourselves, and we thank you so much, and it's so beautiful to see, and you offer the divine feminine so much. You have so much to offer, but we need more. We need more, and the masculine needs contact with the sacred feminine, because it's the sacred feminine that challenges us at every single level for us to try harder and to do better, with caring, with compassion, with sympathy, with empathy, and the frequency of love. And of course, embedded in all of that is the truth. If you look at our channel, it's always been that way, about 70% feminine followers and about 30% masculine followers. And it makes perfect, absolutely perfect sense. So if we divide the sexes, you are, and when I say you are, the sacred feminine, you divine ladies that are so special and are so uniquely blessed and bestowed with two sacred portals to God. We all have the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is that mystical spiritual doorway to the Father, where we commune from. Pineal gland activates the third eye, and that is the optic thalamus. That is the third ventricle of the brain. And that third ventricle of the brain connects via the chimney, the foramen, straight up to the background, which is at the top, which just above it is the claustrum, which is Santa Claus, at that very almost complete center top of the background. That's the true crown, because a penitent man is like this, humble before God. So our third ventricle is connected by a thin chimney or tube called the foramen. And at the very top of the foramen, at the very, very top, just below the claustrum, is a notch. And you can literally see that in all of these medical and scientific books. They'll show it and they'll label it as mercy seat, as the mercy seat. And that is just as God spoke to and explained to Moses in Exodus. That is communing with Moses. Moses is by the burning bush, the pineal gland activated, in the third room of Solomon's temple. The third room of Solomon's temple is the third ventricle of your brain. And the door to the right is the pineal gland, which is the burning bush. And then we commune. That's the whole point of Freemasonry, which is what, the Knights Templar practice, which goes all the way back to stonemasonry. It's what the Nazarenes and the Essenes, and they're all connected. It's what they all believed in. It's what they all did. It's the process of the 33 degrees is to rise within yourself and to learn this process, to practice this process, to become a master of this process and meditation, so that you go deep within yourself in stillness and silence, and you commune with the Father, mano a mano, in this sacred chamber, the sacred union between the Father and the child, which is this marriage. That's the marriage that is spoken about, which is what we males must do. We must first become married to the Father, which just simply means the unification of the divine feminine and masculine within us, before we go looking for the divine feminine in our physical lives, because then we'll be worthy of the divine feminine, because we cannot afford any more mistreatment. of the sacred feminine. Not ever, not on this earth. Have to start to get everything right. And it is the divine feminine, their energy, their spirit, their love that will lift us higher. And we'll move gradually and beautifully away from a patriarchal society into a matriarchal society, because the mother is the center and the strength of any family, day and night. And as the child grows and grows and grows, then they become closer to the father. And by that time, the father needs to be prepared to be this divine shepherd to guide his own children to the mountaintop, which is righteousness, which is kindness, which is goodness, which is love. In all moments is love, zero judgment, full acceptance, and love. And that is the highest high. To God, the highest thing that any of us can work towards is simply becoming the divine shepherd, guiding all those towards life, love, giving in all moments. So the shepherd and giving unto others is the highest manifestation. It's not getting a job on Wall Street. It's not having loads of money and a whole bunch of houses and a big yacht. And that's bullshit. All that stuff is bullshit. There was, Colleen showed me today, I think it was from Georgina, Dean in Australia as well. And there was somebody who put out, I have no idea whether it's true or not, but they put out about these patriots, and they were showing all these big names within the truther community. And of course, none of them teach the truth, whether they know it or not, or whether they're innocent or they knowingly lie, who knows? But at the end of the day, it's still the same, because it's just lies, and it's just constant spread of lies. But they were just showing the amounts of money that these people are making monthly, annually, and in some cases since 2020, and they're just unbelievable amounts of money. And then there's Colleen and I that are struggling to have 100, and that's just monthly, struggling to keep 100 monthly supporters of our animal rescue sanctuary, let alone, forget about, thanking us or sending money. We don't ask for that, and we don't need it. We don't live off of very much at all. So, but we absolutely struggle to be able to maintain 100 this, dedicated monthly, to be able to help with the animals, which were over 170 here, over 170. And all we do is teach the truth, which is a very unpopular thing to do. Very unpopular thing to do. So it's just interesting. We're just looking at that, oh my God, like the amounts of money. And again, I don't know how accurate or inaccurate this is, but they were suggesting that most of these bigger truthers are making between 50 to 100,000 US dollars a month. Like, I don't think we've made that amount ever. And of course, Colleen and I don't ask for it. And when everyone was calling us, especially back in 2020, because we were all over the place, we made time in our incredibly busy schedules, and we didn't charge anyone anything. We don't charge for any of our things. So it just needs to be free, and it doesn't come from me, it comes through me. And that's this unique difference, which puts Colleen and I completely different. And it makes perfect sense that it would be this way, that out of 100,000 truthers, 999,999 are all teaching from out there sources and what other people say and what the vast majority say, and they all stick together and they all sort of do it the same way. And then there's just Colleen and I who go within, and we give all the credit to the Father. And then when we try to explain this, people take terrible shots at us, like saying that we're trying to say that I'm Jesus and Colleen's Mary or something like this. And it always gets misconstrued by people whose egos are out. So it is what it is. But you've been witnesses, and that's the great thing, is that you are our witnesses moving forward. And what's really, really, really important as everything begins to collapse, and out of the collapse comes this new age of, and the golden era of a new earth, is that you witnessed that precisely what Mahatma Gandhi said, that even in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. And that there was one group or one person who was able to tell the truth consistently and not be riddled with lies, or not be a specialist in just one aspect of the truth, but they don't know anything else and all the rest of it. And that's because it's the kingdom within you. And that's it. That's what everybody has to do. And we teach that. We teach this process. There are now so many videos on our channel about walking the straight and narrow way and the work that has to be done to be able to still the five physical senses in this portion of ourselves, and to still it and silence it so that we can rise into this magical kingdom here, activating the pineal gland, sending that electrical impulse along the stria pinealis from the pineal gland to the fornix, which is connected to the roof of the third ventricle of the brain, which is the velum interpositum. And the roof of the third ventricle, the velum interpositum, is known as the gray rain curtain, because when it's closed, that's what Adolf Hitler was all about. And that's what he was talking about, is that when that's closed, we are blocked from the wisdom of God. And that's where this opening of the mind, you must open your mind. That's where that comes from. That fornix has to roll back. And the only way that the fornix, which blocks that last chamber up and to the right, called the chamber of the bridegroom, that's where the marriage within ourselves, with the masculine and feminine within us, marry in unison, and we become one with the Father. That's where this marriage to God comes from, is through this process. So it's beautiful. It's all connected. Everything is connected, and everyone just keeps saying that. And the more we go, it's just going to double and triple and quadruple infinitely as we see how, oh my gosh, everything was connected. That line from Gilligan's Island connected to that actor, and then that show and that series, and then this politician and that event in history. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected. And in ways that will, your minds are probably already blown, but they will be doubly, thricely blown by how everything is almost like there was a plan, but a plan that is mind-blowing, because how could the plan be so perfectly unified in so many different degrees, on so many different layers for so long? That's how. So anyways, that's it for this introduction for tonight. Let's see if this video stays up. And so what I'll do tonight, I'll decide with Call what we're going to do on the show, the history and destruction of the Cathars. But don't worry, although many Cathars did die, many escaped and went underground, and they became the Priory of Sion, and that became this first massive organization for the protection of the bloodline and the collection of all official documents and all official history from the moment of the marriage between Yeshua and Mary of Magdala, and then the borning of Sarah, all those documents and everyone who came after that and every single interaction and all the kids that they have, all of that has been kept safe. And the Priory of Sion needed a military arm to be able to protect and then to be able to do a whole bunch of things that are necessary on so many different levels. Those became the Knights Templar. And the Knights Templar are the basis of everything good that came from their creation in 1119, 1119. It's interesting because 119 is the simple gematria for Mary Magdalene, 1119. So everything. So the lineage from when the Templar Knights went under the ground, we did that show, showed you Swiss banking, Swiss watch makers, and the precision, the beauty and the precision and no errors, no mistakes, the mastery over the collection of time. Nice Templar. And there's a purpose and a reason for all of it. And again, remember, their banking system was so good, everybody used it, including the Canaanites. And their watches were so precise, everyone bought them and used them who could afford them, especially the Canaanites. Those who required banking and required watches were forced to go to Switzerland because there's a plan behind everything. So wherever we go on Saturday, it's going to be an amazing show either way. Those will be our next two shows. And the shows that are coming after that are absolutely amazing. And always, we're just so excited to get to the next week and to the next show because there's so much to share. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. When I checked tonight, there was 24,717. Isn't that interesting? 717. 7 times 17 is 119, Mary Magdalene. And my born day is 717, and Colleen's is 718. So amazing stuff. Everything is connected, and it all makes perfect sense with the Father. So click. Do you have to click notifications or some such thing or whatever? I don't know, but subscribing would be a good deal. And then tomorrow on X, and you can find us on X. I posted two fantastic posts today. Especially that concert that was happening in my head at the Red Rocks just outside of Bethany in the Holy Land, Palestine, and I was attending at a Red Rock amphitheater. I was attending a phenomenal band, and the name of the band was Yeshua and the Red Ladies, and it was a great concert. And I was standing right next to the Apostle Matthew, and he kept requesting Freebird by Leonard Skinner, which they played as the encore. And boy, is Yeshua an amazing guitar player, and Mary Magdalene's incredible singer, so is Sarah. So it was an amazing show and concert. So if you haven't read that on X Day, it's a great post. And so you can find us on our One True channel on X, and that is at Charlie Freak 1, the number 1, at Charlie Freak 1. And that'll take you to our authentic X channel. And that's it. So all we had was X and Rumble, and now we have this YouTube channel. So Debbie, Charlie, what is Mashiach? It's Hamashiach. H, capital H, small a, capital M, small a, S Yeshua HaMashiach. In Hebrew, HaMashiach, because remember, in every other idiom language other than English, the focus is always on the second syllable. So that's why everyone, and I'm glad people are saying a different name other than Jesus Christ now, but most people are pronouncing it Yeshua, because we're always taught to rush, and that the focus is always on the first syllable. So it's Yeshua, but it's Yeshua, because the focus is always on the second syllable. So it's Yeshua. And that is the proper pronunciation of this true divine. And now remember, this is just a man who became more than a man, just like you can do too. That's why Yeshua said that you will do greater things than I if you stand on our shoulders, those mighty ones who came before you and showed you the way. If you follow the way, that's what they're doing. They're showing us the way. And if we stand on their mighty shoulders, then we too, believe it or not, can actually become divine as well. And that's because, as Tom Hanks said in the Da Vinci Code, which is all true, by the way, Dan Brown, that's why Dan Brown writes at the beginning of his novels, what follows is the truth. Because the Da Vinci Code is the truth in plain sight, and that there is a way, that there is a good and a righteous way, and you just have to follow this. And as Tom Hanks said in the movie, what if okay, so maybe Jesus was a man, but maybe being a man or being human is divine? Of course it is, because we are the children of God. Only a Roman would lie to you and tell you that you're a worthless nothing, and that there's nothing that you can do, and that you're born with original sin. That is insane. That is the absolute antithesis of the teachings of not only Yeshua and Mary, but Muhammad, and of Siddhartha Gautama the Buddha, and of Krishna, and of Zoroaster, and of Lao Tzu. That's insane. You cannot, the very nature is what we're fighting. It's what we're fighting with the Federal Reserve and this inherited debt that is just passed down. It's the same thing. Economically, it's inherited debt, and physically, it's inherited sin. It's the Romans. It's their game, and it's absolute, utter nonsense and bullshit. You have the potential to be the greatest creation ever. And all you have to do is just be you. And ultimately, it's all inside of you. Yeshua didn't come back to save us from this, that. He came back to awaken us, to show us the way. And the way is within you, because you already know. You just forgot. You forgot because it's been so many lifetimes, reincarnation on that circle. You can't get off because you don't know that there's a door to the right, the moksha. And if you don't know that that door exists and that it's to the right, then around and around and around this wheel you go. And that's this reincarnation. It gets worse every time until you hit bottom. You can't take anymore. And then you're willing to do anything to get out of this living hell, which I think is where most of us are, or many of us are. That's what it takes. It takes a willingness to do anything to get out of hell and to find God and the Sacred Mother once again, and never, ever let go of them ever again. And that's why we were called to be here and to do this. So, to be human is divine. And so we'll see you Saturday, and tomorrow I'll provide the link for YouTube, and we'll just sort of see which show that it is. And I thank so many of you for being here tonight with us. It's great. I love you. Colleen loves you so very, very much. Frodo loves you so very, very much. And I'm off to feed our beautiful horsey Diamond Boy, who's getting so big now, and we're just weaning him off his milk. He's down to 4 bottles a day. Next week it's 4 bottles a day. Yeah, this is the last week of that. Then next week it's just 3 bottles. Then the following week 2 bottles. Then the following week 1 bottle a day, and then he'll be weaned off of it for quite time. So again, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you on this same bat channel at the same bat time this Saturday. And we don't have daylight savings, so you finally came back towards us. That's why the start time for the show changed for most of you. It was an hour earlier. Because here in Mexico, we no longer observe daylight savings, which is a good thing. And so everyone has come back an hour earlier and to start an hour earlier, but I've got the updated times for everyone. It's 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, which will be 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 3 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Pacific, and there you go. You're off to the races. I think that's 10 o'clock UK time, which is good. It's a little easier than all ends of the night. So again, love you. Thank you. And we will see you soon. And how do I even stop this? Oh, yeah, it's still a Zoom thing. So I stop it here. Okay. Thanks. And we'll see you Saturday. And I will post this on the link on X tomorrow, and of course on this YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay. Love you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. And